Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis.
I'm still the disembodied voice.
And this is... No Capes!
I hesitated.
She was going to choke. We talk about comic books that don't have to do with superheroes. And this is for Comics for the week of June 24th.
Yep.
2015. We're going to jump right into, finally, the last issue of Annihilator, issue number 6. Explain it all to us, disembodied voice. The subtle nuances of a Grant Morrison book.
I believe what I said was, I don't know if I can even talk about that. What the heck?
Yeah, it was what the heck. That's what she said. What the heck. I dug it. I like it. To me, it felt like it fell. Whereas, like last issue, it felt like last couple issues, it felt like okay, clearly. Because when I first started talking about this book, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like Grant Morrison is doing a Philip K. Dick book.
Yes.
It's very Philip Dickian. And they kind of moved away from that. This issue
becoming like a road trip.
This issue to me felt like it moved back into that again, very back into the Philip K. Dickian. What really happened? What didn't happen? Did the guy have a data? You know, did Space have a data pack in his head? Was it a what is a tumor? Max ends up doing brain surgery on him
at the end.
At the end,
this everywhere
to save him. You know, and of course, there's all this: do you exist or don't you exist? Kind of a thing. Your existence is as they're hunting down Max. You know, your existence is in question because you clearly, if you were made by the ultimate creator of pure and good and blah blah blah. Here you are, but that means you're out of place and blah blah blah. And so they kind of eat themselves to some degree as far as the stuff that's hunting them down. I should get let's start. But still really love the Fraser Irving art in it.
Yeah, the art I really love.
And I love this story. I more please. And potentially they kind of left the end of this.
They did
with an open
some room.
Of Max kind of zipping off into the sunset in a way.
I said that Max was coming back at the end of that.
That doesn't mean there's going to be more comics, though.
This is true. So he could just show up at your door one day and tell you that you're holding his story in your brain.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the way that ends at the end of it, yes, ooh, more story. That doesn't mean there's actually more story. I've heard nothing to say that there's actually more story.
Okay, then.
Okay? That's just the way they chose to end it.
Okay.
I don't think they just ended it that way simply because, this gives us a huge door to clearly state,
fine,
we are going to do another series of this.
Thanks for nothing, Morrison.
That was great.
Yeah. My approach to any Grant Morrison thing is just to read it and enjoy it for what it is and what I can comprehend in it.
Sure.
And if I don't always get all of it, then that's fine. And my goodness, his ex-girlfriend couldn't be any more bitter if she tried.
Even at the end, you think?
She says he destroyed her life.
But then she also says, if you need somebody to talk to about all this that just happened.
That's true.
I mean, she kind of implied, I'm your girl. So...
Yeah,
yes.
I guess.
Yes. Clearly, he, in her opinion, he wrecked her life. I mean, like he held a gun to her head the entire time.
Not.
Well, right. So, she kind of destroyed her own life too, or allowed herself to go down those roads. So.
Yeah, there's definitely an element of this.
I just thought it was cool, but yeah, I don't know that you can really, talk about it. I don't want to talk about it too much because. Hopefully it comes out in some sort of trade and people who didn't get it in singles pick it up in trade. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I would actually like to read it all in one spot.
Right, that's what I've been thinking. I'll go back and reread it just to catch the little things that maybe I missed along the way and whatnot. But still really loved it. Like I said, though, I like Philip K. Dickian type things, and to me it really felt like it flirted with that kind of stuff. Even the way this ended... Where it still kind of puts it up in the air. Did it really exist? How much of it really happened versus didn't happen? How much of it was in Space's head?
Right. Was Max even really there doing brain surgery? Or was that just how he viewed the brain surgery?
Right.
All of those things are up for interpretation.
Yeah. Cool stuff, I think. So next up is Suiciders, issue number 5. Another book, of course, written by Bromero, the guy who wrote We Are Robins. Of course, he also does the artwork in this with colors by Hollingsworth. What you think?
I know you love the cover.
Cover is awesome because they do such a great job of it looking like a real arm and fist and whatnot with a tattoo on it. I mean, the art is great. I mean, just because it's how well it's done to look like a tattoo.
I like this comic. There's so much corruption in it, so much backstabbing and running, behind the scenes running of these fighters.
Yeah, there's a criminal element in it.
But for me though, I'm rooting for long-haired redhead guy and
the Saint.
Yes, I'm rooting
before pre Saint.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him in spite of the fact that we know things went weird. And I have trouble sometimes because when I was reading it, I was like, okay, are we looking at his backstory and his current story, set beside each other? Mm-hmm. Which you're saying we are.
I think so.
And I really like Pre-Saint, and I'm really sorry that things went poorly for him later on, I guess. Because I'm rooting for Pre-Saint, and I already know where he is, which is not in a good spot. And potentially about to be killed.
Well, yeah, possibly. He's kicking everybody's ass, though, so...
Yeah, I know. It's not working out for them, but still.
Right. His promoter has decided he wants somebody else to take over because he's become kind of a loose cannon in a sense because he's not satisfied with his current status quo, even though clearly he's rich, clearly he's a superstar, clearly he can have any woman he wants or whatever. Everything's basically provided for him and whatnot, but he has zero life outside of crushing people in the pit.
And he doesn't really appear to have a lot of control over his life either.
Well, right, his promoters run his life.
And
yeah. So as he's fighting against that, of course, they've decided that makes him dangerous, so let's get rid of him. They attempted to get rid of him in the pit. That didn't work out. They've now sent multiple guys after him to try and take him out. That has not worked out so well. He's on the run. Clearly, he has some sort of a plan. We don't know exactly what it is.
Right.
Anyway, whether that's him trying to figure out how to get himself back over into old L.A.
Exactly.
or what, I don't know.
Where he came from.
We've got this, the other elements of the story we've got that's in the current timeline. You've got this paparazzi who knows way too much information, and he's just trying to get the hell out of New L.A.
Right.
Just because he knows he's a dead man because he knows all this information about the Saint.
Is that the one that the body landed on his car?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that, and of course we're getting the backstory of the Saint. I'm assuming it's the same anyway. Him younger, long-haired, starting his fights in the pits and whatnot, which is what he wants to do. I mean, that's what he wants to do. He wants to fight. He idolizes those fighters and whatnot. That's what he wants to do. And of course, he's huge, massive, and a natural talent at it. And you get this other story of him basically getting a girlfriend. You get to learn over the girlfriend. He's got a little kid that hangs with him now. So he's get kind of the perfect family life and this whole other thing going on, which is all interesting. And you're also getting an aspect of his handler, his first handler.
The one who lost his eye.
Yeah, you're kind of getting his story of hard knocks laid over the top of young Saint's life, and it all meshes together quite well. This, I think, is written really, really well. And is really interesting, and the way it's woven together is very good in comparison to what he's written in We Are Robins, just because it's the same writer for me. I don't really like the comic. It's cool. Excited to see what happens.
I'm never sorry to see it on the pile.
And it's gorgeous to look at. So.
Oh yeah, the art is very good.
But granted, it's yet another book that's set in a near future, and it's ugly.
Yeah,
it's ugly.
Things are not good in the near future.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at this and you look at Lazarus and
well, do you think that's like just a?
And well, we'll come up to it.
Just kind of seems to be it's going right, so that's the way the writers are going to write.
Ugh. I'm not thrilled with that concept.
Yeah.
Mythic
issue number 2. What'd you think?
Still like it.
Phil Hester writing and John McCree on pencils.
Okay, as you know, I'm terribly sad that Gertie, the weaving robot, does not really exist in the British Museum. I looked her up just to see. I mean, obviously she doesn't have a fold-back creepy face and doesn't deal with a girl with a fold-back creepy face and a scariest flashlight ever.
You got to give that some context so everyone knows what you're talking about.
In this book, there is a robot that they have nicknamed Gertie. She is a programmable robot. She is programmed by...
She weaves.
She weaves, but supposedly she did other things. So I didn't care. I just liked the idea of there being a weaving automaton from the 15th century. I thought
that's
that
what it
was
is. Not a
great
robot. A weaving
idea.
automaton.
They call her a programmable robot because unlike automatons that you wind up and they do one thing, she was programmable to do different things.
Wooden cards.
Wooden cards that are similar to the old computer cards that you put in. But I'm very sad she doesn't exist. I looked her up just to see.
As she's reading, she's Googling to see if it's really there.
I did. I admit it. I was sad. But I'm really glad there's hopefully, cross fingers here.
Because
Gertie
Gertie is also teamed up with this crazy, scary little girl.
Creepy girl with a full back face.
Who sucks demons into her flashlight and can, peel the skin back off of her face.
Yeah, she's not really a person.
So basically what we get in this issue, the first issue we got a concept of, here's this team. And they do these ludicrous...
Multiple teams.
Mission. No, not in the first issue.
Okay.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Yes, dear.
Okay.
Right.
So in this issue, we get introduced to the fact that clearly they're part of a larger organization. There's teams all over the place doing different work and whatnot. And we get to see one of those teams in here doing some work. And that team gets hosed. And then we find out from our team that we're focused on that all the teams that are out there are getting hosed. They're getting called back because there's this emergency because they're all getting crushed by some unknown force all at the exact same time. Oh no! So that's what seems to be the big story. Them going to have to deal with that. In this issue in particular, we get to see our one of the main characters who houses a shaman demon inside of him. Kills all enemies. I think is what the name is. Kills all enemies. He doesn't kill any enemies. But his head isn't attached. He throws it around and whatnot. He's a ridiculous character. Basically, he picks a fight with the sky or the storm clouds, and in the process of that, it gets the mountain that's female all hot and bothered, and the two of them...
Somebody's fighting over her, so they do make the rain, which is
right. So they get busy, and of course that makes rain and saves the drought and whatnot. Yes. It was ridiculously funny, but it was fun too.
Yeah, and then there's the other team is looking at this giant, who that's a very famous folk tale. The giant that lives there in Ireland and would come up and build the bridge and to fight other giants. I don't remember the specifics, but I know that that's a pretty famous folk tale. But anyway, he is mostly dormant, but every once in a while he gets a wild hair and thinks another giant is coming for him and gets up and gets all...
Primps himself.
Gets all cranky and throws some stuff around. But he was truly agitated and in pain because, of course, he was being possessed by Flashlight Demon. So...
Well, Flashlight Demon.
The demon that gets sucked back into the flashlight.
Right.
Yeah.
But the art is really cool on it. To me, it's somewhat reminiscent of, Five Ghosts in a way. I think maybe more how it's colored.
Sense.
How it's colored than anything, but there's the giant being ripped open because inside of him is a demon. They use the giant to...
And they're talking about how the demon burns so hot that even the rock-like exterior of the giant can't hold him.
Except this is one of our other main characters. That's our kills all enemies or whatever the heck his name is. But pretty funny.
Yeah, I like this comic.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was suspect the first issue, but it has turned out to be. So there's a bunch of clouds and a mountain getting it on. Ooh, pornography in my video. Anyway, yeah. I think it's pretty cool. There's good art in it, and
yeah, and I like the aspect of humor in it.
Gertie.
There's also some kind of the non-existent Gertie.
Yes, you already mentioned that a couple times now.
Yes, I'm going to keep mentioning it. There's the underlying, feeling of something a little more serious and obviously pretty creepy since all the other teams are being taken out.
Right.
So.
And of course, it's got to be an awesome comic. Next issue is going to be awesome because it has a giant baby wrestling a dinosaur.
That's what they promised.
How can that not rock?
Exactly.
Right? Come on. A giant baby wrestling a dinosaur. You should be getting it.
It's really fun. Yeah, you should. We didn't rate comics like you and you used to.
I don't rate these comics.
No, we didn't rate the superhero comics either.
That's
not
a
that it
different
matters.
It's getting dark in here. Frankenstein.
And he's not talking about Frankenstein Underground, though it is.
Frankenstein Underground. Issue number 4 of 5.
The best issue since the first 2, I feel. First 1, maybe.
There's some cool images in the first 3 issues.
For sure.
Story was
I liked
really lacking.
The first issue really pulled me in and made me want to read it. And then I was like, and we're going.
But this issue is great. This issue
yes.
punches the story in, you know, gives us the elements I thought we needed to have, puts us in direct conflict with the bad guy.
Exactly.
So it can all get finished up in the next issue.
Exactly.
In typical Mike Mignola fashion.
And,
it's just Mike.
you know, shows you the backstory that's necessary to understand what the heck's going on. And it was actually, yeah, really informative and enjoyable. And the art was pretty.
Yeah, Ben Steinbeck is a great artist. Great artist. Used to be the artist on all the Baltimore books.
I like the Baltimore books, too.
Yeah. I enjoy it. Good stuff.
They really should, I don't know, trademark the Mignola-verse color palette.
I pretty well think that Dave Stewart probably has. I mean, it is their color palette for their universe, so.
Certainly.
Maybe a little bit of light will help, because it is mighty dark. Next,
you all the whacked over there.
Next up, we're going to, challenging the disembodied voice to turn something on. At any rate, next up is number 7 of The Fade Out.
I like this book a lot. And I've liked this since the very beginning, whereas Fatale was such a slow burn that I was just wondering where it was going, and I didn't like it at first. This, because I know kind of what to expect from these two now.
It's the same thing.
It is, but it's
the same
just
thing.
really, I really enjoyed it. And I've just enjoyed the nuance and not worried about where we're going.
Right. So what's good about this issue?
What's good about this issue is, well, it's sad, though. I mean, because he's having this kind of lost weekend.
I didn't ask what was happy or sad. I asked what was good.
Well, it's good and it's sad. It's the whole lost weekend
it's a
with
good
his,
sad.
With his,
with the Scarlet
actress.
Yeah.
And that's sweet, but it's also sad because, they can't really have a relationship. I mean, because
sure they can, as much as anybody else that's at the studio has a real relationship.
But the studio won't really allow that because he's just a writer. And people seem to be getting more and more on to the fact that his style, quote unquote, has changed.
Right, because he's writing more like Gil.
Because Gil is writing more.
Right,
because he's
lost
anymore.
Because he's lost his mojo as far as
serious, permanent. It feels like writer's block. But I really do. I really did. I just liked it was very bittersweet. They're at the beach and they're having a lot of sex, but it's
lots of sex.
A lot of sex. Not that's a bad thing. But yeah, it's so pretty. And then at the same time, our, actor that got in the car accident, that's her pseudo boyfriend.
Right.
Is
the
gay.
On-screen boyfriend, yeah.
I just feel sorry for him because really there's no
out.
Yeah, there's no place for him. There's no refuge for him to be himself, and that makes me sad. So it's sad, and these are all very broken people, except for maybe the starlet, but she probably is to some extent. And then he feels bad because he's not totally remembering Val, and then he's remembering Val, the dead actress.
Right.
So.
Right, the body from the beginning.
Exactly. And then there's also that he has that weird, drunken interlude with the man that he thinks he remembers from the night of Val's murder.
Uh-huh.
And he puts what looks like one entirely different sort of business card in his pocket.
Yeah.
And then when he pulls it out, it's a note, a handwritten note. So,
right.
I'm interested to see where that goes. It's still just really good. And right now, I don't really care who killed Val. I'm just really enjoying the backstory and the
just whatever happens.
the downward
I wasn't
spiral
even
of some of them.
right. I wasn't even sure the whole weekend away thing I wasn't sure that was even real to start out with because the color palette changes. It gets bright. It's all sunny. Because most of this thing is noir in style. You know, even though it has bright colors, it's still shadowed. It always seems like it's just this side of rain all the time, even though it's LA, and of course it's not like it rains there at times. But it just has that kind of. It has that kind of. And we go up just up the road to the beach, and it's bright, it's sunny. You know, the beach, the blue sky, the water.
The very beginning.
And I'm like going.
With Danny and Sandy at the beach. And,
right, and I'm like, this isn't real. I kept waiting for Annette Funicello, and like, yeah, well, of course that's before them, but still, it was that kind of. I'm just like, oh, this is. Weird, but I'm also happy at the same time because one of the things that kind of went about last issue was I go, you know, because she's, you know, they're kissing on each other and whatnot, and it made no sense to me. I'm like, okay, Charlie's this kind of gangly, not handsome in any way,
right?
You know, glasses wearing writer. She's a starlet. She could clearly have whoever she wants. What the hell, you know? And it just felt weird, and I happy that it wasn't a cheap kind of one night, whatever the hell it was.
Right, they seem to genuinely have some sort of affection for each
other,
which is nice.
Even if it only lasts the weekend, it's still right. So
it's something that feels real.
Yeah, still definitely really enjoyed the book. It's interesting. The back matter is way more intriguing than I thought I would ever think it was going to be.
Yeah, I'm enjoying all of those articles about
just
old-time Hollywood for the most part.
Right, which I don't quite honestly really care about, but it's interesting enough to okay, that's, you know, so everything they're telling you in the story really isn't that far off from how crappy stuff was. So
yeah,
you know,
the whole studio system was wow.
I'm sure it still is, but it's a different type. So, Resident Alien issue 2 of 3, the Sam Hain Mystery.
Still a fun book.
I love this issue because most of it's told through the book. I mean, he reads the story, and so a large chunk of it is him reading the story. He thinks it's autobiographical, so he's like, who are these people, trying to figure that out. And of course, his lovely assistant, I can't remember her name right now, she kind of mentions, well, why does it have to be written from a male perspective?
Exactly.
This could be a female nom de plume.
Nom de plume.
Nom de plume? My French. Nom de plume. You know, so it could be a woman that's written all this stuff.
There's no reason.
And he's like, no!
Wait a minute.
You know, starts the male chauvinist, and, well, okay, that puts a whole different perspective on all of it. And then we have a potential suspect at the end of this thing. I just think it's fun because it's a murder mystery that doesn't have any insane impact. There's no craziness going on. There's not somebody locked in a basement somewhere getting their eyeballs, you know, knocked out of their head or any of that sort of stuff. It's just this kind of...
it's something that happened a long time ago, so he's just looking into it,
just
going, you know. And my favorite panel in the entire thing is the end.
Oh, yes.
It's the prelude to the next issue.
The prelude to the next issue, because it's got this... girl, and she's drawn a picture of her doctor, because you know how little kids will draw pictures of the doctor for the doctor, right? You know, here's the doctor. I mean, at least my doctor has lots of pictures up of children having drawn him and whatnot, which is pretty funny. So she's drawn it. She's got this kind of this very serious look on her face,
seriously determined, really.
No, really. And of course, because our doctor is an alien, and one of his alien abilities is he blends in and just looks like a normal person to most everybody, but children and dogs are the kind of things that see him for what he really is. And so she's drawn him looking like an alien, and so she's like, no.
And the look on her face is
seriously.
That, I mean it.
No, seriously. And of course you just know the adults are going, oh, that's nice, honey.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, see, seriously.
And see, it just makes me smile.
Seriously.
I just really like it.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
But no, it's a fun comic, well drawn. I really enjoy it. I'm happy I picked it up. I just kept picking up. I'm gonna have to go back and pick up there's trades or singles of other stuff for the Resident Alien, because this is the first Resident Alien stuff. Because this has been fun enough. I've heard Scott Constant Bromstar, I think, talk about Resident Alien way in the past. I thought, oh, that might be cool, and I kind of forgot about it. And then this new miniseries turned up, and I thought, well, hell, I'll pick that up. So it's just kind of there's fun stuff in here. It's got nothing to do with anything. It's just great little personality and showing the real world kind of thing. Like there's this one guy that works at the hospital. He's kind of sleazy and gross, and no one really likes him.
And he's leaving.
And he's leaving because he's getting like a residency someplace else. And he asks, "Oh, can I leave early?" And he's like, and the doctor's like, "Yeah, sure." He tells everybody else, and they're like, they're all having a party. They buy a cake. They buy a crappy cake to feed him, and after he leaves, they plot a really
bring out the good cake.
They bring out a good cake because they hate him. I don't know. It's just, to me, that's so office life. I don't know. I just thought it was funny.
And he's like, "I'll get a cake," and he's like, "Oh," and she's like, "Not for him, for us."
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I just not that I've ever worked any place where we've thrown a party because someone left or anything. But yeah, I don't know. I like all the aspect of it. It's just a fun, you know.
Exactly. I enjoy it.
Really entertaining. Next up is Invisible Republic issue number 4.
Which is the other one that I was thinking of when we were talking about near future
dark
things being dark and dystopic and not very much fun.
Yep. This one's full of honey. How can it not be fun?
You know, I really liked that story, that part of it, a lot. Mm-hmm. I like the whole
So in this,
apiary.
What's her name?
Maya.
Maya is, you know, out on the street, basically trying to figure out what she's going to do. She gets basically taken in by some honey farmers, and she learns the trade of honey farming. Up until the point where they want to officially apprentice her, and she panics because, of course, she's an indentured runaway.
Right,
and
so
doesn't think
she can't do anything official.
But they imply that they can.
Right, because the Apiary Guild.
Right, leading into, you know, back in this early days of this moon's existence, clearly there's lots of corruption. You know, if she's supposed to be this thing, by legal terms, she's supposed to be this indentured service, and they're saying, "Oh, that's right, we're part of a guild. We can buy off whatever we want to." It's kind of what they're implying.
Yes. Yeah, it's like, that's the least of your worries.
Yeah. And then in the current timeline with our reporter, writer guy, he's taken on another person with him, or that person's basically...
She's pretty much forced herself. She's kind of bullcrafting his story.
Right, because she's a real reporter. I mean, that's actually what she does for a living.
Right.
He's kind of a hack at that part of it. He's more of a writer. And so between the two of them, they've decided they're going to take this on because...
Yeah, we were definitely getting the feeling that the locals really do not believe that anybody else can understand
their plight,
the story of this moon and what happened on it.
Right. Nor do they want to talk to them. I mean, that's the other aspect of it. They just don't want nothing to do with it.
I mean, well, they are explaining things, but not... Yeah. It's interesting in them talking about, you know, we remember what really happened, and this is what it was like, and you think that it was this horrible thing at the beginning, you know, his Mallory's reign.
Right.
Mallory, right?
No.
What's his name?
Arthur.
Arthur. Okay.
His name is Arthur.
They named the place Mallory, that's right.
Something or other.
Anyway, so yeah, that there's a lot more to living there and having survived there, and that nobody's really capable of understanding it, except for people who lived it.
Yeah.
So they don't think that 2 off-world journalists are going to be telling the story properly.
Right. Right.
And at the end, we see Maya giving away free honey samples.
Yep. So
which I think is awesome because she's still around.
Right. So she's moved on to that and whatnot. So. Really cool. Just love all the aspects. It's one of those like the fade out in the sense that it long term. We're telling a long term story here. It's not like things are happening like this. This issue doesn't have any like explosive moments in it in particular, but really good at laying a lot of groundwork to help us understand the existence of what both these timelines are in. What's there and what they're going to have to deal with.
And we saw, at least from Maya's point of view, what really happened at the beginning. And in this, they're reading from Arthur's very...
It's her.
No, we're reading her story. But in the book, the 2 journalists are in like the bookstore or the library, and they are reading Arthur's heavily altered, in his favor autobiography about coming across the military people who, you know. Yeah. It's like, oh my. Yeah, it's not really what happened according to your cousin.
Right. Right, and her diary. Yeah.
So that's kind of fun.
Good stuff. Next up, we'll talk Effigy, issue number 6.
Okay, so this is another case of what the heck, because it went from being kind of this fun story about a former child star turned police officer and, checking out on these murders. And then it's turned into some sort of potential, alien possession, hypnotherapy gone terribly wrong. What?
With a giant secular religious hit squad running around, commandos.
Trying to kill them.
Well, not trying to kill them, but trying to kill the alien possessions and whatnot.
So, yeah, that was unexpected.
I love it.
No, I didn't say I didn't love it, but it's kind of like, oh, well, okay then. So that's the turn this is taking.
Right.
But I love this comic. I love all of her soliloquies.
Yeah, where she spends her time, talking to the camera. You get these, I think they're 12-panel page. 3 and 4, no, 16 maybe. It's 4 and 4, right?
Yeah, and there's
or it's 12.
Throughout the
story. Of her basically talking to like us, like I'm talking to you, and she's explaining kind of what's going on, or when as the story's happening, she'll say something, and she'll say it in a way that might put her in a bad light, or might make you think, and it'll segue to that, her going, now, I know what you're thinking, and what you're thinking is not right, because this is, I can see why you might think this, but this is what it really is. Or in this one, she's explaining how really she has this whole idea, her therapist, she went to lots of therapists, she finds out the person that work for her, and she's going through narrative narrative therapy, where she basically writes out and goes, this is how my life is going to be. I'm going to do this job, I'm going to get married, I'm going to have kids, and blah, 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 live the wonderful life and all that kind of great stuff, and then die happily ever after. And that, and if you keep telling yourself that's what's going to be in there, you're going to get on the healthy track, and that's what you're going to do. Clearly, she says, somebody else is taking over my narrative, and right now I am stuck living their story.
And I need to find out who they are.
And I got to find out who they are so I can figure out how to get back to my own narrative. That's how the book ends, kind of.
Yes, and I still really like Edie. I like Edie a lot.
Ed?
The former Eddie, now Edie.
Oh, they actually call him Edie. I thought he was still called Eddie.
No, Edie.
Okay.
Because it's one D.
Oh, you're right.
Anyway, still really like her.
Great character.
And really glad that even though it was from creepy, hypnotized freak job captain, she does get saved. It's like out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Right.
But, she's about to be raped, and then, potentially.
Right.
And then she gets saved by the captain, who then
tries
to kill her. But,
there's definite awful,
there's
definite awful moments in here. There's nothing about it, but it's still, I think it's really well written.
I really like it.
And the characters are...
And it's definitely going further and doing more than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It could have very well been a really shallow story.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah.
And I really like it.
Written by Tim Seeley. This is the same guy who writes Revival. Also is...
Which I also love.
He helps on the storyline for Grayson. King does the actual script, but he helps write this is where the story's going to go. So,
okay, well,
solid stuff.
All hail
and Zarkona, I like the art style in this too. The coloring by Vaughn and Hill. I think it's a great book. I love these covers too. The covers are just
are awesome
really
because
great.
they really
that red carpet.
Really
I love the red carpet. The angle of this.
It's such a cool thing of a dual personality. She's on the red carpet, but then again, she's got her gun, and the shadows are targets because, of course, she's a police person, not a star.
But you are right. The story at the end of this one, the first arc is done. Clearly, the next arc is going to be total crazy pants because it's completely changed what's going on.
Exactly.
Now I've got these people who are under some sort of mental control of some sort. They're cyclically connected in some way or another, whether it's aliens or it's demons or whatever it is. They're in all kinds of trouble, and this, like I said, this like secret army of religious people. Some of them are Catholic. Some of them clearly have, are wearing all kinds of different kinds of, religious paraphernalia that come from different aspects, Muslims, Catholics, whatever. They're part of some organized army that's fighting this. And they're scooping them up because they're going to get killed if they don't scoop up.
And especially, there's two reasons why they're in trouble. They're in trouble because they
killed a bunch of cops.
Weirdos are coming. And they're in trouble because even though their captain was a hypnotized weirdo, they murdered him. So actually, that was a girl.
Yeah.
Her.
But great.
So, yeah. Good story. Really interesting. Enjoying it a bunch.
Yep. Good, pretty good book. And finally, we're going to talk Southern Cross issue 4. I haven't talked with you about this book. What do you think?
We talked about the first issue, I believe.
I haven't talked with you about this book.
Okay, sorry.
Not this title, this book.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. I feel as though, sorry. I feel as though it's like this one was a little bit redundant because I feel like a lot of the things that happened in the last issue happened again in this issue, and there hasn't been a lot of explanation as to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, still problems with the gravity drive, still some weirdness going on inside the gravity drive, and she hasn't really gotten any more answers than what she had.
Oh well, other than she's identified the drug smugglers that are
right. She's
that are
got that taken care of.
That are in
but
the
that
place.
wasn't really that necessary unless she needs drugs, which she did ask for some, so she could see more clearly.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like the story went anywhere this month, but I still like the story.
Do you?
I feel like, I guess I thought.
I want to like it.
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's where I'm at.
I thought that she was going to actually go somewhere. I did not think the entire bulk of the story for 4 issues was going to be taking place on the ship. I thought that.
Well, it takes a while to fly wherever we go.
Yeah, I know it takes a while.
Right.
But I kind of thought that it was, I didn't realize that it was going to be so involved on the ship itself. I thought she was going to, you know.
This issue gets much more hallucinatory in a lot of ways because the gravity drive that runs their ship is gone wonkers, and in the process of that happening, it tends to mess with your brain, and when it messes with your brain, then you, at least that's what they're telling us anyway.
Yeah, you hallucinate.
There's a lot of not explanation, and it's not, to me, it doesn't feel like the kind of, ooh, this is a mystery, we're going to find out. It's just, this doesn't tell us.
Yeah,
and that's
you're reading it going, okay.
Right. I'm just going to accept that that's what this is because
and
I have...
dot, dot.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess we'll read 5 and decide from there what we're
Yeah, I'm not sure. When I ordered my comics for June,
my
my June order, which of course I don't get until, August, September, I don't know that this was on. I don't know that I got it.
Okay.
Another one of those, I'll see if I can scramble to pick it up if it suddenly changes somewhere.
Which it didn't. So.
I really like Becky Cloonan. She's awesome.
Her.
Awesome creator, awesome person. Love her art. Just don't know that I'm excited about her writing. You know, she and Brendan Fletcher are writing Gotham Academy, which I was never really keen on.
I liked it.
I know everybody else did. I didn't like it. But I hear people are liking that more. So maybe it takes
inner teenage girl.
Maybe it takes that 5-6 issue to really get where it needs to be at. I just don't know. Like I said, I'm hanging on, wanting to like it, but I read a lot of other books that I think are doing space and this sort of thing.
And doing that part, because the first Rocher Limit had to do with, I need to find my sister. Obviously, her sister's dead.
And I love that.
And she needs to find out why her sister's dead.
I love that first Rocher Limit.
I mean, it's like, is her sister in prison in the gravity drive, or is somebody else in prison? Or more than one
She's
person?
dead.
We don't even know, because it's like she saw her sister's face, was superimposed over the gravity drive.
Sure.
So we don't even, it's like, what?
Right. So that's my problem. I feel like there's a lot of other books out there that are doing it better than this. There's a lot of comics coming out
right now that are in space
that I want to get. Something has to come off the list unless our children are going to go get second and third jobs to pay for my comic habit.
Our children don't have jobs at all.
Well, there you go. That's the first problem. Yeah. So yeah.
One of them's too young to work legally.
So I was working then. That's what Under the Table's for. Anyway, the battery just went red, so it's time for us to quit talking.
Okay, yeah. Wish we loved it. Love Cloonan. Don't love that. The end.
Yep. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you next week with more books, I'm sure.
Bye.